Hello, everyone. There's a way to put a title on these lives. How do I do that? How do I send that out so people know what we're talking about? I don't know. I'm going to go. Today, we are talking about the idea that life is not actually harder for people with ADHD. That is going to trigger lots of people. Life is not harder for people with ADHD. I wrote Change My Mind, but you're probably not going to be able to change my mind. Let me talk you through why this is true and why that's so useful to you. First, the thing you need to really identify first is what even is hard. How do we come across this idea that something is hard? And I want to offer that hard is a label that we apply to something after we have connected a feeling with an experience. So if you've done a thing, the thing that you did and you felt a certain way during that experience, if it was a negative emotion, you're going to call that experience, that thing that you did, hard. If it was a good experience, it's probably not going to be something labeled as hard. Think about anything that you think is hard for you to do in your life. You probably feel a negative emotion when you do that thing. And if you think about any of those things, like let's say washing the dishes, if I got to feel euphoric or just like mildly happy while I was doing my dishes, it would not be something I avoided anymore. I wouldn't call it hard. Same thing with like public speaking is something a lot of people find hard. Well, if you got to feel excited and passionate and energetic and like adored while you were public speaking, it is no longer hard. It is now something that you're like, oh my gosh, I need to do more of that. Marathon running, taxes, like any of them, if you felt good while you were doing them, not hard. Okay, so hard, I'm going to say again, hard is a statement. It's a label you apply after something felt a certain way. And that's really useful because when we're saying life is harder for people with ADHD, what we really mean is people with ADHD feel bad more often while they're doing life, right? That's what hard means. I felt bad while I was doing it. Well, if life is hard, then that means people with ADHD feel bad more often. And that's something I'm not even going to argue. I think you could probably do a survey, like, what percentage of your day do you feel like trash? and get some quantifiable information. So let's just assume that that's even true, right? That somebody with ADHD does feel bad more often. Doesn't that mean that their life is hard? Harder. They feel bad more often, and that's what makes something hard. Well, I have another question to ask first. How does it feel to think that my life is harder than other people because of the way that I am? How does it feel to think I can't do what other people can do as easily? How does it feel to think God gave me less than the average person? Like literally what emotions? What does your body do? Do you get like, oh, yay? Or do you sink? Do you feel deflated, defeated, hopeless? When you believe the thought, my life is harder. People with ADHD, our life is harder for us. In that moment, you made it harder because you made yourself feel worse. That thought feels bad to think. And therefore, you've created the exact situation that you thought you were just speaking about. You're speaking it, you're making it true, which, interestingly enough, is part of your mind-boggling skill as a human being created in the image of God, is that you have the ability to speak something and make it true. In that case, you make life harder for yourself, I believe, by saying, life is harder for me. It's hard, I can't. And you guys might not be as whiny as I am, but I'm really whiny when it's so hard to do this. I feel bad. I stop doing the things that make life better. Okay? That can seem a little like mind-bendy, but when you realize that no emotion has anything to do with your environment, it has everything to do with what you're believing in a given moment in that environment, and that you can believe kind of whatever you want, it makes much more sense. And it means that you don't have to change a lot about who you are as a person with ADHD. You don't have to change almost anything I might go all the way and say you don't have to change a darn thing other than what you are thinking about in a given moment. Because if you can change what you're thinking about, you can feel better. And the more often you are feeling good, the less hard life is. If you get to feel good all the time, life is no longer hard. If you get to feel good while you are working on the things that you want to work on, life is no longer hard. So what I really want to urge people with ADHD to do is to stop trying so hard to be so different, trying to fix the world or fix yourself, and instead really start to pay attention to what you think all day long. And alternatives to those thoughts may not arrive. Like you might be like, oh yeah, I'm spending the whole day thinking about how I can't do anything, and that feels awful. Okay, so that's why my life is so hard right now. But I don't know what else to think. No problem. We're going to keep talking about that. That's what my page is dedicated to. What else do I think? How do I do that? How do I believe something that I want to believe, but I don't yet? Like, how is this all connected to God? Is this manifesting? I don't want to manifest it. I'm going to talk about all of that. But right now, what is just useful for you to know is that life is only hard if you have thoughts like, this is so hard. I'm so weak. I cannot. I do not. People don't like me. Notice all of the times during the day when you are thinking thoughts that make you feel miserable. That would be why life is hard. Not because life is hard, but because you are powerful and you've been programmed to think things that make you feel that way. Okay? I want to help you deprogram that. So hang out with me, you guys. I'll be doing some more videos on these topics soon. Mwah. Oh, back up. Is there anyone with questions? I know like most people are comfortable just typing as you go. If anybody has any questions on this, I'll give you a couple of seconds to shoot it up there. I get real like excited with my life and I want to go. Okay. All right. Any of my lives, you guys, you're welcome to ask any questions at all that you want, and I will do my best to answer them. Take care. Have a good day, and share this if this video was useful to you. Thanks a lot. Bye.